So now I want to take you through basically the heart and soul of science. Hopefully before you actually did your experiment, you went to the library and found some articles that helped guide your thinking. Remember that science isn't just about doing a bunch of experiments to prove what you already know, but instead it's a way of asking questions. So you should understand the current state of the discipline by reading and keeping track of who said what in the field already. And then you extend it a little bit. You test something. You test a hypothesis to see if maybe the reasoning can be developed a little bit further. So the references are the heart and soul of all of your background work, and it typically should be done before you've done your experiment. Now, if you're the typical undergraduate, you probably are doing this after you've done the experiment, and that's okay, but maybe in the future try to show better practice. Anyway, what you need to do now is lay out your arguments in your paper like a court case, as if you are a lawyer and you already have the understanding of what really happened, and you're providing the evidence. The stories and the evidence from other articles are laid out, especially in your introduction and especially in your discussion, but also maybe in your methods and materials. Now, this isn't just a list of all the books you read and the websites you visited. These are actually going to be cited inside your introduction and conclusion. So be sure that you keep track of who said what, and make sure that this list always appears to be linked somewhere else in your text. These aren't just things that you read. Now, the way that you're going to lay these out is providing enough information, and if you look at the CSE Styles Guide, you can see how to cite the authors and the year. And the whole purpose is so that somebody can find the original article and they can read it, and maybe they'll have a different interpretation of what they read than what you read. So that's very important, that the source be able to be tracked, and that goes in the actual references section. Now, the other part, the linkages to this in the introduction and in the discussion section, there are two ways to do it. And one way to do it is for biology, we'll do the author year kind of format. So we actually write out the author's names in full, provided there's not a lot of them. Otherwise, we use the words "and others" to indicate that when they look it up in the references section, there are other people there. And also the year appears as well. And this is typically the format preferred by a lot of biologists. Well, the chemists also use the same idea, but rather than indicating author and year and indicating in the references section in alphabetical order by author last name, they will indicate the references in order that they're cited in the paper. And so we call this the citation sequence method, and this is also supported by the CSE style. Now, you can see here that there are superscript numbers, and they appear in the order that these citations occur, and this will be the order that they occur in the references section as well. By having a superscript, it doesn't interrupt the flow of reading this as much as you would find with the author year format as well. So hopefully you can see that the whole purpose of the references section is to show where the facts are linked in your logic and give the reader a chance to figure out who those original sources are. Now, also look at the benefit you're getting with this as well. Is if you do your research before you do your actual experiment, and you're reading journal articles that have their own references, you have an opportunity to go and see what those authors used for inspiration and ideas. And it certainly is a good way to track down further information to help you make better science and communicate it better for others. It's a lot of work. It's something that takes a lot of practice. So if you find it a little bit hard the first time you do this, that's pretty typical. And trust me, the more you do it, the easier it gets.